how is it that cells know how to communicate with each other? It's not like they have voices to speak to each other or have cell phones that they can use to contact one another. Instead, they participate in something called cell signaling. Now, what is cell signaling or cellular communication? There are 3 different stages: reception, transduction, and response. Reception involves ligands, sometimes proteins, that diffuse through the plasma membrane and into the cytoplasm, where they then bind with receptors. There are specific receptors for specific ligands. This can ultimately cause an intracellular response. The next stage would be transduction. This is where, once activated, the receptor can convert its signal into a cellular response. Here, there can be a cascade of molecular interactions that relay signals from receptors, ultimately amplifying the signal. Next, the cell can initiate a response that regulates protein synthesis. This can turn on or off genes in the nucleus and is most commonly known as gene expression, or the response part of cellular signaling. Now, what are the types of cellular signaling? There are 4 different types: autocrine, juxtacrine, paracrine, and endocrine signaling. Autocrine signaling you can think of as self. It causes a cellular communication with itself. An example of this could be cancer cells. Next would be juxtacrine signaling. Juxta means next to or touching. An example of cells that go through this would be the plasmodesmata between plant cells and how communications are able to be spread that way. Next is paracrine signaling. With para, I think of as nearby. An example of cells that endure paracrine signaling would be synaptic signaling, with neurotransmitters that happen through the brain. And finally, endocrine signaling. With endocrine, you can think of as within or long-distance signaling. This is where the ligands can travel through the bloodstream to ultimately cause a response long distance. Now let's go through some review. There are 3 stages of cellular communication: reception, transduction, and response. And there are 4 kinds of cell signaling: autocrine, which is cell; juxtacrine, which is touching; paracrine, which is nearby; and endocrine, which is long distance. Hopefully this helped you understand more about cellular communication. Thank you for watching.